What's going on, everyone? Juicebags here, and welcome back to the channel. Stardew Valley Update 1.5, of course, brought us Ginger Island. Now, one of the first things you're going to want to do in Ginger Island is figure out how you're going to make this a profit center for your farm, as it basically gives you an outdoor greenhouse that can be used year-round for anything that you want. Now, what if you wanted to turn your Ginger Island experience into a neo-pagan cult that has its mind set on sacrificing unexpected tourists as they come to town? Well, if that is the case, you are going to need you an absolute ton of bees. So, converting this entire Ginger Island area over to a honey farm is a very profitable experience that we're going to take a look at here today. Now, when it comes to making honey, you're going to want to maximize your monetary gain, and of course, the most valuable honey to make is the fairy rose honey. This means that you're going to need a fairy rose planted within 5 tiles of every single one of your bee houses. The fairy rose seeds can be acquired in the fall, just right from Pierre in town, and you can buy those out in the fall. I do suggest you get a lot, as you're probably going to want to move them around as you decide your particular layout on your bee houses. Another important thing to mention is before you take on a venture like this, realize that the crafting cost for these bee houses are going to require you to have an absolute ton of maple syrup. Now, with this much maple syrup required, you are without a doubt going to want to start a maple syrup farm. The wood, coal, and iron, if you don't have it, you can always buy it. However, the maple syrup is definitely your gating in a venture like this, and you're going to want to set up a massive farm. As you see here, I didn't hold any punches and went right over to the beach and have got the maple farm just really producing here. It will take quite a few. You're going to have to go big and realize that you're going to have a lot of rotations of the maple needing to pop for you to be able to create all the bee houses you need. So the regular beach back in town is an ideal place to get this going. It's a wide open space. It still allows for all of the seashell spawns and everything else to happen, and it gives you a large area where you can collect just a ton of maple syrup and not pass away too many years or days or months on the calendar. So let's go ahead and harvest this up and see what kind of return we're going to get for a day. Let me go ahead and get rid of this fairy rose honey, that way it doesn't fluke any of the results, and we will harvest up all of this goodness. Now, another benefit here to remember is that you want to design your bee house layout in a manner that makes it very easy for you to loot all of these bee houses. So you need to go through and loot the houses. You want to be able to do this in a timely manner, of course, but you also want to make sure you're doing it in a way where you're accidentally or not accidentally looting all of your fairy roses, as you're going to have to regrow them if you loot them. So put those in a way where you're not going to loot those by mistake. Now, with lots of direct pathing, you can very easily run through and get all of this stuff looted very, very quickly, and have it all in a position where your fairy roses aren't being dug up out of the ground. This is obviously the route you're going to want to take, and make sure that you lay everything out so that it maximizes your convenience level. Another big aspect of this sort of layout is it's going to allow you to create a very large profit center for your farm that doesn't require a ton of work. There's no replanting needed, there's no converting to wine or mead or another substance needed. You're going to be able to just go through, loot this fairy rose honey, and then dump it directly into the box, which is going to give you more time to do all of the other things that are available to us out here on Ginger Island. Now, another important thing to note is, remember, you only have to be 5 tiles away from a fairy rose, and it's unlimited, so you don't need, one fairy rose will handle an unlimited amount of bee houses as long as it is within those 5 tiles. Now, with that in mind, there is a ton of space that is right outside of your farmable area that is still considered farmland by the game, which means you can place a fairy rose there to grow and it allows you to really maximize the space out on Ginger Island. Now, Ginger Island it's got a lot of areas. Your area outside of your immediate farm will be very wonky, but of course you're going to want to get the most bang for your buck. So just kind of do it in a way that allows you to maximize the amount of space that is there and available for use, but also makes it so that it's not too difficult to run through and get everything harvested and collected. Now, in addition to taking advantage of this area that's directly west of your farm, remember that there are some farmable tiles spread out throughout. So everything in this western zone is going to be considered farmland, and you can take advantage of it. So you can even go up top here by the little bird transport system and get even more bee houses going just from just a few tiles of fairy roses. So make sure you maximize all the space that is available to you to get the most amount of harvest that you can when it comes that time. Now, taking a look at the profits here, as you see, I've got 3 bee houses throughout all of this that are just creating wild honey. That means the placement is off on them. I will have to hunt those 3 down. So I'm not going to sell these, but let's just sell the fairy rose honey that we did collect and see what we gain from it for that 1 maximum harvest. Now, as you see here, it's a very profitable venture, 785,000 gold from 825 fairy rose honey produced and sold at 952 gold each. This, of course, is with the spec in mind. Now, for a direct comparison of what you would get honey versus, say, ancient fruit, let's head over to one of my other farms and do a quick harvest there to check things out. This, of course, is one of my other farms where I went through and prioritized the crops. So every farmable tile, same thing as with the bees, every farmable tile that could be used here has an ancient fruit on it. So let's go ahead and harvest this all up, and we will check the difference between the ancient fruit and the honey. Now, as I mentioned, I'm using every single farmable tile that's over in this entire section of the island. So just like the honey, kind of maximizing what I'm generating off of the island itself on this particular save. So let's get these last few ancient fruit picked and then go turn it all in and see exactly what we're going to make for the day. Now here I am, of course, just trying to get an apples to apples comparison. So we're just dropping the ancient fruit. We're not going to convert any of it to wine. Obviously, if you went through and made wine, you would get a little bit different result. But let's check a look at the totals. So for the ancient fruit, we're getting 584,000 gold. And this will be a pretty normal array, although it will change a little every time of what you get. As far as what's silver star, what's gold star, etc. So not a bad take, 584,000 gold in a 7-day period. And really the big difference here is 100% the processing time, where although the ancient fruit are producing a nice amount of gold, it's on a 7-day cycle, meaning every 7 days you can go through and collect those ancient fruit. The bees, however, the bee houses are on a 4-day cycle. So instead of getting 4 harvests per month like you would with the ancient fruit, you're going to get 7 harvests every single month. Now this makes this very, very profitable. At the same time, it makes it something that's super fast for you to harvest. You're not creating anything else out of it. So it's a very nice income with a small amount of work invested. Once, of course, you get all of these bee houses made, as that is without a doubt the main investment to get this started. I have to thank Insanity from my Discord server that came up with this idea and this thought process on switching this over to some fairy rose honey, and it is an extremely profitable idea, and it allows you to do something a little different on your farm other than just using it as another greenhouse. So that will do it for now. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to click that like button. Please subscribe to the channel. You got any crazy ideas on what to do with your farm? out on the island? Well, let me know down in the comments below, and if the math works out, I will do my best to see if I can't make it happen. So thanks again, y'all, and I will see ya next time around. Take it easy.